Well, that is the waterfall, and we wanted to see the record-breaking abseil, which wasn't visible, and we were looking for birds, but we found a building that was completely unexpected. It is after breakfast. We are here in the restaurant just to get some coffee before we hit the road. It was below freezing last night, and we have a nice fire here. My people are sitting on top of the stove. Anyway, let's go and see what it looks like outside before we leave. This is just taken here from the stoop outside the restaurant. There's a lone horseman crossing the Maletsunyane River. That goes to town. This is the main gate over here. Riding the sure-footed Basotho ponies here in the mountains at least once is part of the Basotho experience. Donkeys are about as ubiquitous as Toyota vehicles here in the mountains. So we will see some donkey and horse parks in town. Gumboots also quite common, and the Basotho blanket. So we are going to see someone later to tell us more about Basotho blankets and their significance. So off to town we go then. This is one of several areas dotted around the CBD where people park their horses and donkeys. Gumboots are sold by many of these shops on both sides of the street and worn by lots of people. We are just out of town now, and we're going to be crossing the river again on our way to the waterfall. The river runs down the left here through this gorge, past the hydroelectric power station. Small power station, but for the village of Semonkong. That's just over there. We'll look at it from above with Google Maps. Basotho cattle with their bells. So there's a packed wall, just stone, just rock. There's a lintel in there, that's obviously from town, but the rest, and the roof of course, no wood, but the rest is found from around here. So this is the Maletsunyane waterfall. It's 192 meters high, and alongside is the 204 meter abseil, one of those cliff faces. Unfortunately, I don't know which one of the two it is, or any of these here. Now you notice that V shape there where the waterfall is, and this gorge here in front of us? Well, we'll get back to that in a bit. I don't know if you noticed the birds. See some birds, they look rather small from here, but those are in fact Cape vultures. They're quite big, and there are also some bearded vultures around. Now the bearded vulture is only found in this part of southern Africa. There are bearded vulture populations in other parts of the world, but in southern Africa this is the only spot that we have them. And unfortunately I cannot take any photos or get a closer view because the battery of the long lens camera is still snug in the embrace of the battery charger back at the lodge. So I'm sorry about that. There's a beautiful visitor center here now. The last time we were here, this was just a field, and we could walk down this hill here to the edge of the cliff over there, and it was impossible to just stand over there and admire the waterfall before us. Okay, so this part of the presentation I would have preferred to do standing close to the edge of the gorge, and we tried, but the wind is blowing like anything, so the wind noise on the mic wasn't working well, so I just simply ran out of time. In addition, it is mind-numbingly cold there. It is winter out here. I know the skies are blue and the sun is shining, but boy, it's cold. So anyway, we're going to do this one on the move now. We have an appointment just now, so I've just got tired of trying to get this thing sorted out. So let's just talk about a little bit of history, but we're going back, way back now, before we existed as humankind. About 180 million years ago was the Jurassic era. and there were volcanoes in this area, and they brought this molten lava up from the bowels of the earth, the magma. The volcanoes erupted here and then flowed into this area. So this rock is called basalt rock or basalt rock, and it forms these mountains, Drakensberg, Maloti Mountains, all around here. So this river that has cut its way into the rock, remember just now I said look at the V shape there where the waterfall is. The river has cut that V in there, but it's also cut that massive gorge running down there. So water is quite powerful, but in this case it happened over millions of years. So if you look at the Grand Canyon, for example, that is sandstone. So if the rivers were to flow, let's say it was exactly the same river flowing over 3 different types of rock, granite, basalt and sandstone, for the same length of time, the sandstone would form a canyon, a deep gorge, the basalt would be somewhere maybe in the middle, and the granite would be the least deep gorge because it's the hardest of the 3. So anyway, that's the story with regard to why there's a gorge here. It's basically the water cut that gorge over millennia. Oh man, I'm just looking at the window now. It looks terrible, the windscreen. Sorry about that, I still haven't gotten to it. Maybe next time when I do some other videos I'll remember to clean the windscreen. But in the meantime, forget that, and there's a man and the mountains. Oh yes, some man-made things. Okay, and there we can see some buildings. But basically this area has stayed like this for millennia, just as it is here. Just take away all those human-made things, and this is how, and this road, and that is how it has been for millennia. We are on our way now to meet Masetho Letsi. She does the demonstrations and presentations of the Basotho blanket and its significance in Basotho culture and so on. She will explain what some of the blankets depict, but no video allowed, so I'll just do voiceover for that. So we're going there now. When Moshweshwe I formed the Basotho nation, there were a number of disparate groups of mostly Sotho-speaking people that needed to be brought in alignment with each other in order to form a cohesive nation. Moshweshwe was reported to be a very astute diplomat and military tactician. The Basotho traditionally wore animal skins, but as they became more exposed to European culture by interaction with missionaries, Western-style clothing slowly started being adopted. In this picture, Masetho holds up an animal skin blanket that had belonged to her mother-in-law. This skin on the floor had belonged to Masetho's grandmother and is 130 years old. So Moshweshwe I was gifted a woolen blanket by a missionary named Donald Fraser, and it is said that the king enjoyed the warmth and the comfort that this blanket offered so much that he wore it quite often. And the people then saw this and they too started wearing blankets. So over the intervening years, the blanket has become synonymous with Basotho culture. So the Basotho give and receive blankets for various events in their lives, such as weddings or rites of passage or cultural ceremonies. And the blankets have different designs on them that all mean different things, like the lines on the blanket, how this started off and so on. And there are also several types of blankets that have specific uses or associated with certain stages in life. Just as an aside, I've been saying me, Masetho, but me is mother, and ma is of course mother, and Setho is a short form of Setole, her son. So I've been saying mother of Setho. So if you don't want to use the Sotho address, her name is Elizabeth Letsi, so go and visit Setho's mum and she can tell you all about these blankets. So we've come to the end of our little tour in Lesotho. It's the last fire. If you've made it thus far, please consider subscribing. You're not going to lose any sleep over it, but it's going to be a huge boost to the channel. It helps with promotion of the channel so that other people can also view it. The more viewership you have, obviously the better the channel grows. Later on it becomes something that is worth looking at, and it makes it easier for me to actually produce these videos. So thank you so much for your time and for being with us on this one. See you in the next one. Ciao for now. Bye.